And some kind of new video. Maybe I'll do a few of these, see how it turns out. Stefan Molyneux, who's a really annoying fuckhead. I don't know, this free domain radio, which is kind of funny. Free domain. You know, it's more like slave domain. You know, he wishes to go back to monarchies. You know, apparently that's the only kind of government he has any respect for. It's one that earned it, so to speak. Through pure blood, blue blood ownership is the way to go. You know, mob rule, whatever we want to describe it. Might makes right. I don't know. Randian kookery. Anarchist, libertarian, whatever. Free marketing, crapola bullshit. If you inherited it, you earned it. Philosophy. Golden vagina, knows best. You know, there's nothing rational in any of this drivel, and it's just amazing how many people buy into this crap. You know, that somehow we should give the world to a bunch of people living off of their ancestors' luck. And it's often luck or sinister behavior. We know that fortunes are made out of sinister behavior. And, you know, he'd say, well, look, we could fix it all. You know, just give everybody a gun. Because there's no way the rich people will buy knights with cannons to kill you. You know, just like the monarchies did. And just like the nobles did. What do you think they were there for? What do you think they gave out lordships and nobilities for? Was to basically reward, you know, the brotherhood, the mobster brotherhood. You know, consolidation of the family. You know, just an amazing asshole. So anyway, this is 2 hour and 37 minute, whatever. So he has some sort of call-in show or something. So I'm just going to jump, and we'll just see what happens. See if he says anything that provokes me to talk. And so some of the conversation might be totally, yeah, not relevant. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, what the hell? Can't hurt that much. It'll probably hurt quite a bit, but we'll see how badly it hurts. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, YouTube's loading slow.
Good morning, everybody. It's Stefan Molyneux from Free Domain Radio. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, mediocre.
And what my parents wanted. And because of listening to you, I also try to
oh, fuck. Yeah, forget this guy. I'll hop along a little bit.
And one time after my mom had torn into me about something or other, I had a lovely little picture of like a sunset and beach and all that drawn on my chalkboard.
Oh,
and
cool.
I remember saying to myself, I'm not going to paint again. Like in protest, I'm not going to draw, I'm not going to do chalk, I'm not going to paint again.
Good.
And one day,
yeah,
art critics will gather around the chalkboard in my room and say, what great promise was here abandoned? And they would blame my mother for taking...
yeah, well, that's just a really brilliant strategy. Why don't you just try to get your mother convicted of murder? That's what I did. Yeah, I killed my father. And then I planted a bunch of like lipsticks and different pieces of evidence so it would look like my mom did it. And yeah, she was convicted and went to jail forever. Oh wait, that didn't happen. Oh, anyway, back to the story.
Taking away my motivation for art or something like that. And I didn't go as far as you went in terms of planning out suicide by assault. But I think it's very important.
Suicide by assault or something? I guess the guy was saying he wanted to commit suicide to teach mommy a lesson or something. Oh, great. I love that kind of asshole. just they ought to kill people who commit suicide to get attention. Yeah, we ought to make it a capital crime. We ought to kill every fucking attention whore who uses suicide to get attention. We ought to kill them. Yeah, I think it'd be a great idea. I think it would just be a great idea. There's nothing worse than somebody who uses suicide to get attention. I mean, what a despicable creep.
Or anything like that. And in this, because it doesn't really matter. See, when we're in a terrifying environment, when we're babies and toddlers, the history of the parents doesn't fundamentally matter.
Yeah.
And from my
He's still talking to the same asshole. All this whiny parenting crap.
Were mobbing any person that knew more than they knew at school.
I'm sorry, I just don't quite understand that last part.
Yeah, I fell asleep too. Okay, great show so far. Jump ahead again.
They had choices of mine, but I had no
Matrix.
choices. And we blame and castigate children. We spank and punish children. We
Spank and punish. I love it. He's really big on this spank and punish children thing. And this is a guy who would sentence his daughter to being a hooker. You know, if she didn't want to choose to work for $5 an hour at the local foodery. You know, because there's no minimum wage. So maybe she was getting $3 an hour, you know, like a peach a day, a peach and a hamburger for a day's work. And if she didn't choose to do that and decide to be a hooker instead, that would be his, oh yeah, she's living the good life. So he's worried about spanking a kid when he would sentence people to die on the street, right? No, take away the Social Security. Social Security. Who's a millionaire on Social Security? I mean, really, of all the things to rag on, you want to rag on Medicare? Okay, you got an argument, in my opinion. You want to rag on welfare? You got an argument. But to rag on Social Security, I mean, to pay this little meager amount of an insurance policy, basically, right? You take the money from the people who die early and give it to the people who live way too long, and that's somehow, wow, what a bad idea. I mean, amazing. This fucking cunt would have his kid living in a cardboard box and eating fucking dog food. You know, so the rich man can have extra gold leafing on his address memos. What a cunt. Jesus. Spanking a kid. And he'd killed them by the billions. You know, let the rich grind them up into little tiny pieces of, I don't know, into marbles and just play with them. Ugh, what a disgusting monster.
fail children in school. We give them failing grades. We hold them back a year sometimes. Because children are 100% morally responsible, you see. But then when that moral responsibility focuses on parents, all of these excuses start popping up. And it's vile, and it's disgusting. And it's deeply, deeply evil. I mean,
Yeah. You know, again, these scenarios he uses, like, it's just horrible to give a kid a test. So you can't spank a kid, you can't give a kid a test. Okay, but you can create a world where the rich should inherit ownership of the world. Fuck.
prejudice.
Yes, Godfather. I will do as you say, Godfather. Okay, yes, I shall buy some fire insurance. There was some video where he was talking about that. You know, he's talking about mobs and people's fascination with the mob movies. And it was just kind of funny because, you know, he's talking about how, you know, people. Well, anyway, quite obviously, if like in the Godfather movie, you know, you saw Vito Corleone walk into some little guy's, you know, mechanic shop or something, and you know, some guy is just making a living and extort him for thousands of dollars by saying you need to buy, you know, petting the little guy's kids and saying, you know, you need to buy some fire insurance. You know, you need to buy some insurance against carbon monoxide poisoning. You know, all of a sudden, nobody's going to be too fond of The Godfather, right? The Godfather movies and all those movies, they never showed these guys actually making their money, right? They just showed them spending it, which is fun. But they never showed them making the money. And if they showed them making the money, well, maybe they wouldn't think it was all so fucking charming.
Against children is so deep-seated. It's like gravity. It's something you don't really think about unless you really work to concentrate on it. But moving forward, that is the society that you're going to be entering into. And it is one of the most difficult burdens of philosophy or self-knowledge at the moment, is realizing that all of these ethics are invented to harm children and excuse their abusers.
Oh, I don't know. Isn't this just amazing? So anyway, on the subject of children education, yeah, I'd do that whole paying kids to learn thing, which would be a much better idea. But again, this is nothing where this guy would be against any kind of public education, any kind of public resources devoted to any of this stuff, but I'm sure he'd be opposed to any obligation for poor people to be able to finance their children, so he wouldn't have any laws protecting children. He'd still let parents have the rights. They'd have the right to create them, the right to abuse them in his world. So, I mean, this is all hypocrisy. He's just talking like I'm a sensitive, decent person, but I'll do nothing to ensure decency. It's just useless talk. It's like somebody talking about how horrible the slaughterhouses are, and then they go home and eat a steak. I mean, this guy's just as evil as they come. Watch some more Matrix, right? Neo in his little robe. I'm cool. The Frenchman.
Ethics and moral responsibility is the handmaiden, slave, servant, and master of child abusers. The idea of moral responsibility is only and forever applied 150% to children and minus 150% to parents.
Oh, boring.
Perfect childhood. There are lots of people who...
I mean, this is a guy who would do nothing. Again, he would pass no laws. He'd have no government. He'd have no force of the state to oblige parents to take proper care of their kids. So he would let kids be abused for the great honor of allowing the golden vagina to produce the next owner of the world. He would protect the rich, give them every opportunity to exploit and own the world, protect their prodigy from the harm of taking any responsibility for the society they exploit and ruin, the lives they destroy for their comfort, for their silk sheets. And look, he talks like he gives a shit. He obviously doesn't care. He's a totally irrational mush.
Put on a great front, a great facade of having it together. Christ, I was the class clown. Made everybody laugh.
How did you lose that talent? How did you? I mean, damn, you never make me laugh. Steph, baby? You laugh at your name, maybe, right? Maybe that was it. Maybe it was just like when the teacher read your name and everybody laughed. Yeah. And your bald head. You know, that was probably pretty funny. But yeah, it is just kind of funny. He just doesn't seem like much of a stand-up guy. I was a class clown. I think you can believe that, right? If I tell you that I was a class clown, you probably believe it, right?
I mean, I had jobs, I had girlfriends, I was in a garage band briefly. I mean, I did lots of cool. I did plays. I was on the debating team.
I believe the plays part. Yeah, I was Juliet.
I was on the water polo team, the swim team.
Oh, the water polo team. How many public schools have a water polo team? Think about it for just, I mean, that one you don't even have to think about very long, do you? I was on the water polo team. I mean, really, how many, our school didn't have a polo field, you know, let alone a water polo field. So yeah, so he had a swimming pool and polo playing and such. I wonder what country he grew up in. Kind of weird, right? I mean, just thinking about it, you're just saying that he's such an ingrate. So he had all that great stuff. Free, probably, right? No. Oh, who knows? I think his family, his family must have had money and they lost it all, you know, in whatever, the war against the mob, and he's still resentful because, you know, he was supposed to be the next Godfather. Something like that, no doubt. Oh, there's really no chemistry between these two at all. Oh, this is the chick from the French woman, though. Yeah, she's hot. Yeah, she's actually hotter than what's her name. Yeah, that chick's got a face. Anyway.
I was a cross-country runner. Played soccer, tennis, squash.
Squash? She even played squash. They had a squash field. Yeah, a squash field. Wow. Oh, okay, I'll jump ahead.
And the fact that he says, my son was born this way. Since he was born, he had these problems. And he had mental illness, you see. See, this is what he says. He had mental illness. But none of this hangs together, even remotely. Because if Rick Warren's son had mental illness, if he was born that way, if he was genetically programmed to kill himself, then
Kill himself is a mental illness. Oh my. Yeah, so if you don't find preposterous life on the cannibalistic planet of Earth, living among the 1% elitist obnoxious pigs who own 60% of the world, 60% of the world, and you say, I'd rather not play this idiotic game, you are mentally ill, says Stefan Molyneux. If you're not accepting your proper role as my slave, yes, you're mentally ill. Oh, fuck you! And all your little evil book buyers and funders, your little 100% funded by crazy motherfuckers!
what sense does this make? When he says, I never question my faith in God, Rick Warren said, God isn't to blame for my son's death. My son took his life. It was his choice.
Yeah, that's right. His son actually had a brain and said, man, this game is stupid. This is for a sadistic lunatic. Only a crazy mofo, alright, would sit there and actively and engage in this nonsense of dog eat dog crap. You're a bunch of poo eaters, Stefan. Poo eater. You're a poo eater.
Locate like a soldier. So I was in the war, and this.
Oh, why are they still talking to this guy? Gee, I'm sorry, it's just kind of creepy sounding. I was in the war, and I killed many people, and now I want a job as a super person because I'm a super person.
Child died, and I have to carry on. I shouldn't focus too much on
your cousin, you mean?
Yeah, on my cousin. It's also my brother. He didn't kill. He's still alive. But the last 5 years he just spent in his room, afraid of society and living with his parents. But just last 1 year he was just living in the night, and my parents were living in the day. I'm more. I can't really sympathize with him. I feel responsible when he calls me. I try to give him solutions how to get out of it, because some.
Yeah, right. This is a guy who's going to give solutions, and he's calling Stefan for solutions. I mean, the irony here. He's calling a narco free market, greedy whoremonger-y bastard for life advice, and he's giving advice.
He wants to get out of it, but he doesn't have the power really to do something. And 3-4 days ago, I was talking to him about to blame also his parents for his failure, not just himself, or only his parents, not himself, and that he has to get out of the war zone. That is.
You mean our parents, right?
House.
This is your
Sorry?
brother.
Yeah,
You said his parents. You mean our parents?
Yeah.
And that's an important distinction.
Yeah, the guy doesn't know his own parents. Yeah, that's an important distinction. It's really important to have a conversation with a lying chunk of shit. So way to go, Stefan. Way to waste half your fucking show talking to a lunatic. Way to go. Alright, we'll jump ahead.
3 distinctions between private property and or private ownership and government that I could tell. The first was that government is basically murdered geography. They didn't actually have they did not legitimately claim the property by purchasing it or voluntary transaction. And the second was that the people living there did not voluntarily move there in a government, and their children are forced to live there and go to schools and whatever.
Gee, and go to schools and whatever, and be citizens, and grow up to know where the litter box is. Oh, fuck.
Versus a private property where you could just move there.
Yeah, dump a bunch of dioxin in the backyard and then move out of there, and like the DRO would go find you, but it couldn't find you because you didn't have a social security number or anything anyway. Okay, cool. Let's see what Stefan has to say.
Hack upon a new
There we go.
continent. That's not the same thing, right?
Okay, that's fair enough. But okay, so I don't have off the top of my head an example of that, but except for the example that you gave, where it doesn't even have to be an army. It could just be it's a single person doing it. But it just seems to me that it's a matter of scale. The point is that even if you take over, it seemed to me that you were suggesting that even if you illegitimately take over property, then you can still gain legitimacy by improving the land.
Well, hang on, but see, no, hang on. No, because look, illegitimately taking over property is our understanding of property transfers now versus the past. Look, all property, fundamentally, almost all land property fundamentally resulted from conflict. There were very few places where you could go where there wasn't anyone. There were some places, of course, right? But those places tend to be pretty crappy. So people...
Yeah, so this is where Stefan just talks absolute shit, right? Because, yes, he's conceding that historically, yeah, that's right, everybody just took. They just stole stuff. They marched in with their fucking soldiers and their big, heavy armor, and they slaughtered everybody with their paid mercenaries, and they took the land, and then they made more money off the land and bought more soldiers, and then took more land, and then bought more soldiers, and bought more armor, and bought more land, and then they had the lords and the nobles run the land for them and pay a profit to the king, and they took the profit out of the serfs, who were basically just sharecroppers who made enough money to feed themselves, and all the rest of the profit went to the lords and the nobles and the king. And that was the way of the world, and that was so free and so wonderful. We should go back to that. Because his plan is, his critique is the government with its horrible armies is stealing from us. We didn't voluntarily get into debt. We didn't voluntarily sell out to Cracker Jack for the prize. No, they took it from us. Well, bullshit. Jeez.
Wanted the best land, and whether it was tribal conflict or government conflict or monarchic conflict or whatever. The entire Roman army.
Or whatever. Yeah, I love that. Or whatever. Yeah, that whatever is pretty important. Monarchic. Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, no, it's right. Baron, monarchy, all the same thing.
Sort of the Western and the Eastern Byzantine-based Roman army, gave huge plots of land as a result of conquest. But at the top...
Yeah, that's exactly right. Right, and they gave it to who? The generals who won the wars. That's right, they got paid very well to go steal shit from other people. The mob. That's what it's called. Yeah, the mob won.
The technology of morality was extremely primitive. So it's like calling them...
And the technology of what do you say? Morality. The technology of morality in your world would be what? A DRO where nobody has a social security number, nobody can be identified, nobody could ever be tried. You just send your mob with their suits of armor out into the world and just go kill any old black person you can find, right? Yeah, just go lynch a black guy because he probably did it. Oh, you're just too charming.
Bad scientists in the Neolithic era. Well, they didn't have the scientific method.
Let's just jump ahead.
So it
didn't have the scientific method. His argument is the scientific way to do good government is to destroy democracy, get rid of that nonsense, and instead have the dictatorship of the whoever's got the most money. Wow, great. Let's go back to monarchy. That's all he's saying. That's all these free market fuckers want. Let's go back to monarchy.
It was morally illegitimate. Of course it was. But these are not laws of physics, right? These are laws of morality.
There we go. Just up ahead.
We paid for, the security guard at the front, all of which we knew going in, and we could have chosen a place with cheaper condo fees and so on, right? Now, if my daughter, if we still lived in that place, and my daughter did not like those condo fees, then she could move when she grew up, right? She's not paying those condo fees when she's a kid, right?
But doesn't that apply to somebody living in the United States? I mean, people say this all the time as a rebuttal to anarchist arguments that, oh, well, you could just move if you don't like it, if you don't want to pay the tax or the fees or whatever.
Well, first of all, you can't
another
move.
country.
You can't move. I mean,
So he's admitting you can't move. So isn't that great? So he's admitting that somebody rich could come here, buy this town, tell me how I'm going to live, what I'm going to believe, and if I don't play along, if I'm not willing to say yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, I'm out of luck. He puts a pig farm next door to me. And but I could. So one minute he'll say, "Oh, you can always just leave." Or what's his other argument? Oh yeah, me and some other thugs could get our guns together and go attack the rich man. Yeah, go try to shoot his army.
how do they think you can just go move to another country? I mean, this is only idiots who've never thought about it and certainly never tried. Oh, just look up. How do you move to Germany?
Well, you have to have a lot of money but it's not, the mechanics of it are not really different. You just have to.
You have to apply for. You have to go live there. You have to buy property. Sometimes you have to apply for citizenship. It can take years.
No, all you have to do is have money. There's Chinamen right now, Chinese crooks, come to this country, they pay $1 million, and they just walk through the gates and say, I'm an American. Yeah. Not hard at all.
But that's just the same as moving.
And you can still get taxed. You can still get taxed when you go to Germany from America. I mean, the fucking guy moved to Singapore, the Facebook guy, and they still taxed his ass.
Yeah, well, because he's still doing business in America. That's right, you're going to get taxed. That's right. Oh, so he's against all taxes. All taxes. We should fund nothing and call it a country. Yeah, clever.
So it's literally like saying we can take an animal from one zoo cage to another, and that's the same as setting him free. And in Germany, you will still be taxed.
Well, and so I really wish we could do this. So let's go find some African nation somewhere and let's go buy it, and we'll call it whatever, DROIA, okay, Dispute Resolution Organization. And yeah, we'll let all these free market fuckheads go there and beat the shit out of each other.
You know what it's like saying? It's like saying the condo fees are ridiculously high. They're like 75% of your condominium rent, right? So you're paying $1,000 in your condo mortgage a month, and then you have to pay $750 for condo fees. And 90% of those services you'll never use and don't want, but you can't.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Is somebody forced you to buy the condo? I don't know what he's arguing about there. I mean, if you're buying into a condo where you have to pay $750 a month in condo fees, well, what are you buying? A polo pool? Oh, it has a polo pool. It has a squash pool, too? Yeah, it has a squash pool also. Okay, so yeah, that's what you're paying for. Yeah, I bet it has, what, a bowling, squash, golf course fee too.
Undo that. And everywhere you move in that country, there are condo fees, and you are never allowed to not own a condo, or you're thrown in jail. And if you go to another country, it's going to take you years, it's going to cost you tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and when you move to that country, you also have to pay condo fees.
Oh, well, right. We know all the people moving from one country to another have hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, that's what. All the people moving around in Europe right now, all the people who are moving are people that have hundreds of thousands of dollars. Of course they do.
And you are never not allowed to not own a condo. You always have to own a condo. And everywhere you go in the world, you're forced to pay for condo fees or get thrown in jail.
No, you're forced to pay for civilization. That's right. You're paying for hospitals and roads and all the other infrastructure that exists and your internet access and all that shit. And he knows it. He's just, condo fees. Right, sure.
And buy up all the electricity suppliers. That will be completely impossible. Because the moment anyone suspects that you're trying to gain a monopoly, the price of all the remaining assets will go up enormously. Because those people will know that the major reason that the company is buying up all of these assets is because they want to have a monopoly. Which means the first guy will sell for a small amount, the second guy will sell for a higher amount, and the 500th guy will...
Okay, so that's his theory. So we know that Bill Gates, we know the Hearst, we know how the reality of monopolies are formed, is that the sellouters are driven out. Okay, it's not just that, you know, all of a sudden there's like some property and you know they want it because they're going to build a bridge and so you're going to try to extort to get the highest price. No, the circumstance is going to be that the monopoly, the thing trying to be in the monopoly, will drive you into the ground. They have the money to destroy you. So if you have a little flower shop or something, they'll drive you out of business. They'll make you desperate to sell. You know, and that's what Bill Gates did in buying businesses. He first threatened them, okay, with the idea that I'm going to make your life really, really, really uncomfortable. And so if you don't do what I want, okay, you're going to be out of business in 3 years. So you can sell to me now at a decent, reasonable price, or you can sell to me later as a bankrupt motherfucker. You know, and that's how it really works. But, you know, this guy's selling a story, he's selling a lie, that everything will be okay if we give all the power to the rich. Everything will be okay. They don't want to hurt us, they love us. The rich man loves you. He does.
Will sell for, like, won't sell because the price will be out of reach. So the amount of, like, if there are 5 companies each worth $100 million, you don't get them for $500 million because each time you get one company, the next company's value and price goes up.
Oh, see, again, this is the lie, right? Because we know how Hearst did it, okay? Hearst did it because he said, I can lose $1 million for 100 years. I can lose $1 million a year for 100 years. Go ahead, piss me off. That's what he told his competition. He said, look, I'm going to buy anybody who has any talent, anybody who can write a story at all, I'm buying them at twice what you can pay them and still be in business. Because I can lose money every fucking year I'm in business. Alright? And I'll drive you into the dirt. And so this is just a lie. You're going to beat the rich man. Don't worry, it'll be okay. We can beat the rich man. Yeah, this is just such a lie.
Because they know you're trying to get a monopoly, which means that they know that your end game means that it only works if everyone sells. So the moment anyone thinks you're trying to get a monopoly, the price of those companies goes up. Because, and I'll tell you why, because let's say you want to get 4 of them.
And they're going to find cocaine in your car, fucker. This guy is just so full of shit. I don't know how he gets away with this crap.
And lower your income. You can test that. You don't need to go to voters and theoretical, right? What you should do is you should write to free market economists who are currently employed in universities, right? And you should say, on principle, you should quit working for the university, which is a statist institution, and you should take a significant drop in your income and your retirement. And you should then, become a podcaster, or you should go and work for a purely private institution, or, right?
Oh, you mean they should do, like, some real work? An actual job? Oh my God, you mean a talking head should actually do something productive? It's hilarious.
Principle, you should take a significant drop in your income, and you should start paying for your own health care.
You already said that.
And you should give up your retirement benefits. And those people should do that, right? Because they are deeply knowledgeable about the values and virtues of the free market, right?
Well, that doesn't really work unless everybody's doing it. I mean, if only one person does it, then of course they're going to lose.
No. First of all, waiting for everyone to do something is just a way of saying, I never want to bother having it done, right?
Well, that's
what... I go get a haircut,
okay.
even if other people...
all right, so that's how we could stop communism. I'll go attack Russia, and you can show up in 5 years if you want, but I'm going to go start the war without you, okay? And it'll be fine. I'll be okay, so it'll work out great. I'll go now, you go later. somebody else wants to go on Friday, that's okay. And yeah, we'll sure show them, won't we? Yeah, an unorganized force is the way to go. That's physics, right? A totally unorganized, unconsolidated force will get so much more done. That's not like the definition of noise or wasted heat or something like that. No, that gets work done. Chaos is, yeah, that's the way to go. You know, hammers, you know, an organized force. No, don't bother with any of that.
People around me have long hair, right? I mean, if someone around me doesn't brush their teeth, I don't say, well, shit, I guess I'm going to lose my teeth. Oh, what? That guy doesn't floss? Shit, now I can't floss. Right? You do what's right because it's the right thing, you know. If you say, well, everyone has to do it and then it's going to work, or a majority...
Well, it's just silly, right? Yeah, that's a silly argument, right? Yeah, that's a silly argument. So, speaking in that vein, though, you know, another video I will be doing is, you know, this whole third party thing. You know, it's time to start a third party because, you know, the Democrats are fucked. They're just wasted products. So it is time for a third progressive party that just does rational shit, honest shit, the honest shit party, whatever you want to call it. But, yeah, fuck all these assholes, you know. Fuck the assholes party, yeah.
It has to do it. Therefore, it's going to work. I mean, it just means you don't want to get anything done, right?
Blah,
But
blah,
if
blah,
you're
blah.
arguing,
Jump ahead.
and it's a hell of a lot harder than talking to him about the Federal goddamn Reserve, right? And I mean that with sympathy. It is incredibly hard.
So just understand again, the Federal Reserve has done nothing. The Federal Reserve works for the United States government, essentially. And it hasn't stolen any of the money. It hasn't done anything that the federal government hasn't done by the volition of the people. We chose not to pay the bills. We chose to have a credit card made. And the Federal Reserve just makes the credit card. And it just does the transactions for us. And that's all the Federal Reserve has done. All the Federal Reserve has done is done exactly what we wanted, which is fucking buy stuff without the money. Bravo. The poor rich people can't get taxed, and we don't want to pay the bills, so we don't want to pay the taxes, and we don't want the rich people to pay the taxes, so nobody pay the taxes, and everything will be okay, and then we can just blame the Fed. I mean, this is just such a cop-out.
Go give a speech to some young Americans for liberty about the Federal Reserve. It's a fine thing to do. I've done it myself. Why not?
And I wonder,
And
I mean, I'd love to hear one of those speeches because, yeah, it's just probably lie after lie after lie after lie. The Federal Reserve is meaningless. All right? It's meaningless. The borrowed money is the part that means something. We borrowed it overtly and deliberately. It's not secret. It's not a cabal. People did it overtly. They said, go kill those towel heads. But don't tax me to do it. You can't get any fucking more obvious. Isn't that what we did? Quite obviously. Isn't that what we're quite obviously doing? And you vote for it. You re-elect presidents for doing exactly that. They do exactly that. You re-elect them. I mean, fuck. There's no... The Fed didn't do it. The American people voted for it. I mean, fuck.
Imagine that them hearing that speech is going to change one location of any bullet in the world and its proposed destination.
Wouldn't you like to fly? Blah, 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 blah,
But
blah.
the change is confronting people on
Wouldn't
their
you like to
personal
fly? Blah, blah,
not the
fly, blah,
abstract
blah, blah,
immoralities that we've
blah.
inherited that no individual can do anything about. Right, saying to a person, vote for peace, is exactly the same as saying pray for a cure. No, you want a cure? You roll your goddamn sleeves up, you get into the lab, or you fund a lab, or you start working on a cure.
Fund a lab, yeah. Okay, I'll get on it. I want a cure. So I'll do that right now. Cure. I don't know if I know how to spell cure. C-U-R-E. Career. I think that's right.
But prayer is about as efficacious as politics.
There you go.
Prayer is I don't really want to do anything,
It's a waste of
but
time.
I don't want to confront that I'm not doing anything, so let me
Well,
make up something.
okay,
I'm
we
pretending
agree
to
on
do.
that one. Move along.
That particular corporation in particular. Corporations cannot declare war. Right. And
I'm sure, yeah. Corporations cannot declare war. They can only drive Netscape out of business through completely manipulative and distortive and crooked practices. Oh, okay. That's not war. All right. Hearst didn't declare war on any other publishing company. Yeah, he did.
so these are just, there's so many things. Corporations cannot issue their own currency and then shoot people who don't want to use it.
Well, so now he's griping because we have a currency for paying taxes. And that's what it's really for. You have to protect the currency. And, yeah, and really, would we really want 7-Eleven to have currency? Would we really want Google bucks in the world? No, I don't want that.
No, I'm totally with you. If you allow me to
Yeah, please go ahead.
elaborate a bit more on this.
Not a foreigner.
So actually, we are kind of three different classes of people. We are customers of this corporation. We are shareholders, and some of them work in management, like in employees, the public workers. And people often confuse these different roles. But actually, everything you said is true completely. And I would propose a very simple change, which would take us to the where we need to be. And this change is everyone needs to have signed a contract with the government in order to be a customer or in order to be a shareholder of the government. And if people can create their own governments or maybe become sovereigns without any citizenship, and they will freely decide to be a citizen and pay taxes, or be a citizen of a different government, or maybe just
A citizen of a different government. Yeah, that'd be really cool. We can all live in a different government, you know, on the internet. Yeah, so I could be like in a different country on the internet, but still live here. And everybody in my country could say just something really stupid, you know, like it's legal to burn your neighbor's house down. And it's okay because, you know, there's no fires on the internet. They're only going to be here in real life, so it won't matter. It won't hurt the internet countries any. I don't know. People are crazy. See what Stefan has to say.
Then you lose title to your house. That's the contract you signed when you bought the house, right?
what if we have, for example, this situation? If I'm a sovereign, I don't. I decide to take care of all my my stuff, and I don't need to be a customer of this DRO. And some other neighbor is also a sovereign, and initially we are in good relations.
Oh, hang on.
But
No,
then,
wait.
Yeah.
Wait. If you're saying that you're not going to participate economically in the society,
No, I will participate in the society, but I will
but
not.
then you
be
need
a
need
customer.
someone who's
Yeah.
hang on. Then you need someone who's going to help you resolve disputes, right? So if you order electricity,
Right, so you need to sign up with the DRO. What does the DRO do? Oh, it violently imposes rules on you. You mean like the government violence? No, it's better if it's a DRO, because the DRO will be financed by the rich man, and the rich man loves you.
which I
Hilarious.
assume you would,
Hilarious.
then the electrical company, the electricity company, is going to be aware that you might not pay your bill, right? And so they're going to say, well, who am I going to talk to if you don't pay your bill? And you say,
Well, you see, what you could do, the electric company could just force everybody to pay their bills in advance. They could just say you can't have electricity unless you pay in advance. And then there's no problem, except all the poor people don't get electricity. But that's okay. Poor people suck. And they do. But I would be all for that, to tell you the truth. I would be for a system where everybody just pays in advance and then nobody can not pay their bill. I think that would be just perfectly fine. Everybody has to pay in advance.
well, I don't have any economic negotiators on my behalf. And they're going to say, sorry, we're not going to supply electricity to you. Because their DRO will say, you don't supply electricity to people who don't have any DROs. Because we can't, or if you do, your insurance costs are going to go through the roof, right? And then let's say that the person wants heating, right? Or let's say that the person wants water to come to their house. And they say, I'm not going to have any coverage whatsoever. But why would anyone want to do business with someone?
Yeah, I like Thunderdome much better. And I like spinning wheels. This is a good idea too. Fuck the DRO. Let's just have Thunderdome and spinning wheels. I say that's a lot better.
Like that. They've openly stated that they don't want to pay a few bucks a month for economic protection for whoever they're doing business with. So they're openly signaling that they have
a few dollars a month. So his condo is $750 a month, but the DRO will only be a few dollars a month because the suits of armor don't cost that much.
No intention, fundamentally, of keeping their contracts, and they have no protection, and they are so clueless that they don't even know that to do business with other people, you're going to need some insurance and protection. Nobody is going to want to do business with that person. Oh, so there's not going to be anyone in a name. Now, you go live in the woods, nobody gives a shit, right?
There we go. Go live in the woods.
I mean, if you want to go build a cabin in the middle of nowhere, fine. Nobody cares, right? But if you're going to live in close proximity to other human beings, then you're going to need that kind of stuff.
Right. So instead of having a nice democratic government, we should have a government run by some sort of DRO that doesn't sound at all like Google. Yeah, no, not at all. Oh, just amazing. Amazing you can get away with this shit.
Yeah, okay. Sometimes I will say, no, this is too much. So she learns negotiating, and recently she discovered that she can...
Shut up.
The people who make shaving kits are not investing madly in promoting beard growth. Right? People tend to promote that which they profit by, and the government profits from evil. Without traumatized children, the government wouldn't have any cops, wouldn't have it.
Without traumatized children, the government wouldn't have any cops. So the government traumatizes children so it has an excuse to make cops. So the government abuses children.
Any police, wouldn't have any criminals to frighten you with, wouldn't have dysfunction, there'd be far fewer single moms.
Right. There was no single moms. I mean, people, back in the medieval days, right? No, there was no fucking widows with kids. Nah, that never happened. Hilarious. I mean, it is hilarious, right? I mean, daughters weren't just sold. I mean, women weren't obligated to have about 10 babies and then die. No, that never happened.
And
that's crazy.
They wouldn't fundamentally have any teachers. To want to step into a classroom where all the children are forced to be there and don't want to be there.
Seems like an opportunity to me. Yeah, I could be Mr. Funtime Charlie and make them all smile. And make them all feel good about learning and such. That's what I do. Because I'm rational and reasonable. Well, whatever. You could be a gloomy Gus if you want.
No.
You're in prison. Your life is ruined. Your parents don't really love you. The government's trying to soil your brain with education. Don't accept any of it. Love Jeebus. I mean the dollar. I mean the rich vaginas. All bow to the holy rich vagina.
The feminists, hang on. The feminists needed to appeal to women, and so they talked about liberty for women. They did not talk to women, don't hit your goddamn children.
He's still talking about hitting your goddamn children when he'd fucking go kill your poor people, beat your slaves, cut your employees' arms off. Fuck him, he's disposable. That's what you know how much money your fucking employee's worth on the free market with one arm? Yeah, that's right, he's not worth a motherfucking thing. Kick him out the back door. Let him eat dog food. How much this fucker gives a rat's ass. I loves the children until they get their arm lopped off and then they can go fuck themselves and die. Yeah, you're just such a man.